Just starting at the gate from the road here. The road comes down. This might look like a park, but it is not, in fact, a park. This is a cemetery. And I think this area is just, to this point, unused, except for you can see little ones over there. These are some really fragrant flowers. They smell fantastic. I don't know what they are, but a terrific sweet scent. Maybe you could identify them. Smells like I don't know what that smell is. It's not jasmine. Is it jasmine or honeysuckle? It kind of has one of those kind of smells. Lilac, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it smells great. You can smell it on the air. So this is a graveyard. This graveyard is behind a church, and the church, from what I was told, was built in like the 1200s at some point, 1270 maybe, something like that. And so you have all these graves in here, and people over the years. The building itself is a fantastic structure. And I guess there's just a handful of different families that are here. There's this one grave I wanted to show you, which I think is pretty awesome. It shows you the love somebody had in them. Look at this. In memory of a beloved husband and father, John David Ball, died 17th November 1990, aged 45. It says, "You have made all other men seem insipid, all other destinies mediocre." Now you know that guy's wife, she loved him. All other men seemed insipid, and all other destinies mediocre. So, powerful words from her on his grave. So here's a wall and an entrance into another part of the graveyard here. Does this go anywhere? No. So some of these gravestones, looks like this is one of them. You can't hardly read them. And they're just old. They're just so old. Somebody would have to redo them. Let's see if this one can be read. Oh, let's see. It's on the other side. There's words on both sides. Looks like they put a plaque on here. Okay, so this guy died at 90 years old in 1890. 1890 is when that one went in. Let's see if anything's written on this side. Nope. You can see some letters. SCNT AAH. And you can see where they went across, but it's unreadable. Weather worn. Here's somebody with a pretty basic, just a little wooden cross. Some of these, like all graveyards, more elaborate than others. And here's the church. This is the backside of the church. Oh, this is an interesting one. I don't see anything written on it. Looks like there are letters here. A 187 and then weathering has gotten to it. Let's see. $1994. This one's just knocked over. That's one thing I've noticed is some of these. I'll show you this one over here. I don't know who takes care of this graveyard, but I think they could do better. Look at this one, completely covered with ivy. You can see the stone underneath, but the grave itself, like that other one sticking up out of the ground, very similar. It's just covered with ivy, probably planted by whoever, family member or whatnot. I'll show you this one over here, what I mean by how this place could be better taken care of. Now here's another one. You can't tell who it is or what. Plants growing out of his grave. But look at this one. It's face down, broken. Who is it? Nobody knows. Maybe inside they have documentation of who this spot was assigned to, but you would think that gravestone could be lifted and repaired, put back into place. I mean, that would be my instinct if I ran this place. So that I don't understand. I don't understand how a gravestone can just be left knocked over and broken, or like this one, half buried. Who is it? Jessica Wood. What does that say? Does that say 1969? Maybe. That's only from 1969. And it's buried like that. Here's another one that's knocked over. Maybe there's some significance to them being knocked over. Maybe they're supposed to be that way. I don't know. I've never heard of it, but that doesn't mean it's not a thing. Look at this one. This one's broken, smashed in. This is why I think that they could do better. Here, another one. The cross off the top, fallen over, broken. I guess it's up to the family to repair them though. Another one knocked over here. The cross knocked over, knocked off its pedestal. How old is this one? Who knows? Let's see. 1916, age 48. So he was 48 years old in 1916 when he died. And you see some of these. This one, 1857 on there, and then I can't, to the memory of, I can't read the name, Ella. So you'll have the husband and the wife, the husband, that sort of thing. And then sometimes they have the kids. 1857, then the spouse, whoever, went 1859, died 2 years. This one down here, 1860 and 1861. So all those people died with just in a few years of each other. The writing on that one is indecipherable. "94 years old in 1940. Here's another one, you can't read it. I wonder, and I would bet that some of the families of these graves no longer exist. You can see how this one's broken there. Cracked and broken. It's been around for a while. This one's leaning. Looks like it's ready to fall over. And it looks like when it falls over, they're just going to let it fall. Maybe there's no family to take care of them, and maybe the church doesn't do that. I don't know. Let's see. There's one over here that I thought was kind of interesting. This one right here, you see down on the bottom, it says Sissy died February 15th, 1926, age 22. And 1926, that's my birthday. My birthday's February 15th. She died on the same day I was born, but decades after. Let's see. I'm gonna see if they can let me in this church. I was told that by somebody that they could get me in, so I'm gonna talk to them a little later and see about getting in. Let's see. Samuel Haggett died January 13th, 1890, 75 years old. And then his wife died 3 years later. She was 73 years old. Here's another one covered in ivy. And no, I haven't seen any ghosts, in case you're wondering. There was a guy that walked his dog through past me. This one, let's see when this one. 1946. Evelyn Booth. Well, Evelyn, you got some pink flowers growing out of your grave. This one looks pretty weather beaten. Can't really tell. I'm sure there's somebody who could clean these things and get those letters out. They got flowers growing up out of yours. It's one of the things about England that I really appreciate is how ancient some of these things are. Let's see, Joseph, who died in infancy, 1933. 1833. Amelia, born 1835, died 1838. Marianne, born 1824, died 1843. All very young. 2 kids and a 20-something. I was told back in the 20s, so the 20s, that there was a plague. Some sort of flu or something, I forget what they told me. I'd like to go up there. It'd be pretty awesome. I'm gonna see if they won't let me in. So, and that's where I'm staying, right there, right across the street in that house. That was a schoolhouse originally for this area. It was the school. It's not the school anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. But if you look at these buildings, like this one is newer, but then, you know, right across the street, a church built in the 1200s and the school built around the same time. So, the Blessed Virgin Mary, Woollavington. And then you see this building here. This is an older building too. So, I mean, just look at this wall. You know, you walk around and touch stuff that's well over 1,000 years old, 1,500 years old. And that's something to appreciate. The United States is still a young country, considering a little over 200 years old, something like this we just don't have, except for the native ruins, structures that you find from tribes, and those are very ancient as well and amazing to see. So you got this whole building here. Looks like it was part of the church because it has all the public footpath. That's a footpath to walk through for the public. So this looks like it was part of the church at one time. But this is a pretty nice little town. That must be rush hour going past me. Let's see what you have here. The Manor, Churchside, Chapel House. So look at this big hedge. And I guess these are different properties, but this is a pretty neat little spot. Probably shouldn't walk up in there. So one of the things I'm discovering about England is that some of the homes here are owned by their town council. And a lot of them, I think, are owned by the town council. Where I'm staying is one of the few that is privately owned. And so there are privately owned homes, buildings, and then others that are owned by the council. And from what I was told, the ones that are owned by the council mostly were built after World War II, and it took a period of time for them to actually get decent homes built, because originally they built sort of shacks for people, and the people had these shacks, and then the shacks morphed into larger homes. Except for this ancient stuff, and you can see the stuff that's been here, for thousands of years. You just look down the town and you see a mix. You see a more modern ones over here, and then the more ancient ones over here. So I'm gonna get across the street. I have to remember to look opposite directions for cars. When I first got here, I'm used to looking to the right for oncoming traffic, and here I have to look to the left for oncoming traffic. Across the street, you see. So the houses that are built, that are owned, that started out as shacks and they got to be a little bit bigger, they're ones probably like that, and they're probably not the most well built, from what I'm told. They don't look bad. I mean, to me they look nice. But then look at the houses we have in the United States. Wood and plywood and drywall and tile on the roof. Some of these look a whole lot better than that, but it is what it is. Anyway, so they're owned by the council, and the only way for them to do repairs on their property is if they get permission from the council, and I'm under the impression that it's the council that would have to pay for the repairs. So there's not a lot of upgrades or expansions or work that gets done on these properties. Unless they're privately owned and they can just, go ahead and take care of whatever needs to be dealt with. Look at this. think I'll go down to that street, then I'll turn around. So you see these roads, right? Look at these roads. You wind through these neighborhoods, these little towns, on these roads. And these are the roads that get you from one town to the next. From smaller towns to larger towns. Unless you're taking the train. That was a horse. So these roads, like this, you're only allowed to go like 30 or 40 miles an hour on these things. And so it takes you, like for instance yesterday, I think from here to Glastonbury is about 20 miles. But on the bus, it took an hour to go 20 miles. And I think for a lot of, if you're in your car, it takes you, so much longer than what you might be used to in the United States, where you can just jump on a road and go 45 or 50 miles an hour down the street, or jump on the freeway, doing 65 or 70 miles an hour, and be where you're going in a relatively short period of time. Look at that horse. He's just standing up on that mound like, what up? What up, horsey? So I'm going this way, but the cars on my side of the street come from behind me. Look at the horse, he's just staring at me. He's like, what up? This is my hill. What up, buddy? Let's see if I can get you. Nice zoom. I don't know how. So heavy plant turning. I have no idea what that means. I'll go over here and take a look at this. Welcome to Woollavington, UK. See ya, buddy. And you can see not too many sidewalks. And the sidewalks that are there are pretty old. This is country living. This is the countryside. This is not a tourist town. Staying at a bed and breakfast here. Usually I stay in hostels because they're a lot less expensive. This one costs a little bit more. I think for 3 nights, I think I paid, I want to say, it wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible, it was like $250 for 3 nights or something like that. I'd have to double check. I think it's around there, which is great because, look where I'm at. $250 to live in this historic town for a few days. Now, if you're in the United States, for $150 a night, you can go stay at the Holiday Inn or something. In Albuquerque. You can go stay at the Holiday Inn in Albuquerque for $150 a night. Look out your window at a dirt lot in a freeway. So, I mean, if you're going to stay somewhere nice. Find a bargain, find a deal, and go there. In January 22, in January 22, my mom died, and I had to drive from Phoenix to Pueblo, Colorado. And so when I got to Albuquerque, it was about halfway. What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? You got something to say? So when I got to Albuquerque, I stayed at Holiday Inn. It was $150. And that was my view. Literally out of my room was a dirt lot and a freeway. And then next to the Holiday Inn was some restaurant, like a typical kind of place. I don't think it was a Chili's. It might have been a Chili's or something. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was a Chili's. And the Chili's was just right there next to the hotel, and the hotel kind of fed the Chili's, because everything else around there was, small businesses and stuff, and there was no touristy things. There was no special quality about the area. It was just close to the freeway, so I could jump on the freeway, jump off the freeway, jumped off, got the room for the night. Next day, on up to Pueblo. And that was $150 a night. So that was $150 right out of my pocket right there, just for a Holiday Inn in Albuquerque. There are places here where I've spent $150 for 6 nights. I think that's what I paid in Bath, England. I think I paid like $150 or $120 for 6 nights. And I'm surrounded by ancient Roman ruins and just about anything you can imagine, as far as towns go. Shops and cafes and a lot of tourist stuff, but you can avoid the touristy things and just look at the historical quality of a place, and there's a lot of it. I ate and had a pint in a pub that was 300 years old, older than the United States. So the pub had been in business for something like 50 years already when the American Revolution started taking place. So when you put things in perspective like that, it's like, okay, and what about a flight? Well, what if I paid $500 and I flew over here on a flight for $500? Then did I stay in a hostel for 6 days for another $150? So $650 to stay in an amazing town in England versus what are you going to spend $650 on in the United States if you were going to stay somewhere, right? So it's a trade. It's like, what do you want to see? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I can't, you know, if I was in Phoenix and I flew to Long Beach and I got or Anaheim or somewhere, if I wanted to go to Disneyland, you know, I mean, it cost $1,000 to go to Disneyland. Why should I spend $1,000 to go to Disneyland and Anaheim when I could spend $650 and go to England? You know, so that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, here's where I'm staying. Was one time the schoolhouse. That's what it's called now. Bed and breakfast, schoolhouse. Very cool. And then look at that building there. That's another. I think that was the vicar's house or something, I was told. So anyway, I think that'll do it for now. I'm going to go in and I might walk up to the co-op and get something to eat, but so lots to think about. All right, peace.